one of the big trends that we've seen in the last couple of years was the rise in advertising-based services. Another trend that we've seen in the last couple of years is the rise of aggregation. And you want to focus, and you've focused for years now on this notion of super aggregation. So maybe we could start by asking you, how have you and ThinkAnalytics approached the notion of super aggregation for the last few years? And when did you first see the trend emerging, and how has it taken off?
Yeah, I mean, we first added support for super aggregation into our content discovery platform actually more than 10 years ago.
10 years.
But we started really kind of predicting that super aggregation was going to kind of take off around 2016, 2017.
Okay.
As you see more and more OTT services and people subscribing to more and more of them as individuals, then you could see it's really frustrating for the viewers trying to remember, which of the 4 or 5 services that they've subscribed to a particular show's on. And I think, as Rafi was saying, of course, in the amount of time that people spend searching and browsing, it's even worse if you have to launch 5 different apps. As well as looking at your EPG and your catch-up content to be able to find something to watch. And, we're all about making that easy, reducing the time to content. So the time from thinking that you want some entertainment and try and take the work out of that part and get you watching something as quickly and easily as possible.
Right. I think Robbie mentioned that some studies show that the average consumer spends about 20% of our time looking for things to watch, and only 80% actually watching those things. And of course, it's just getting more and more complicated. So it makes sense that viewers would want a way to easily access that content. How do you at ThinkAnalytics define this notion of super aggregation?
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of concept is really having multiple services as part of a single platform. People have been used to, with, let's say, pay TV services, where they are effectively aggregating content across, multiple channels. And if you take that to the next level, where, previously people would have had maybe tens or hundreds of channels and a few thousand VOD assets that they could watch, then that's gone to 300, 400, 500 channels and tens of thousands or even 100,000 assets in a VOD catalogue. And, in the not too distant future, then it's millions of assets that are available. And it's really taking that content discovery and browsing experience to an exponentially new level. So if people think it's difficult today to navigate on their pay TV service because there's so much choice, even in a typical pay TV service, there may be 40 or 50,000 programs that you could watch over the course of a week. They'll imagine a service, one of our customers today, there's over 500,000 titles that they could watch at that instant, not even over the course of a week, but right now. And so just imagine how difficult it is to even think about deciding what to watch when there's such a vast array of content that's there. And really, it's one of those things where having a small number of choices to choose from, a small number of good choices, is actually much easier to deal with as a human being than an unbelievable number of choices where you don't even know where to start.
Right. So aggregators and super aggregators, there's a number of different ways they can work. They can offer ad-funded services. They can offer subscription-funded. They can offer a combination. How is ThinkAnalytics working with those services to come up with a bundled offer that makes sense to their consumers and makes sense from a business standpoint?
Yes, I mean, I think if you look at ad-funded services, obviously what they want to maximize the number of minutes that people are watching so that the maximum number of ads are played. And showcasing great content to people obviously keeps them engaged. So really, from the viewer's perspective, increasing their engagement, showing them great content, making it easy for them to start watching that, and not forcing them to work and browse around a massive catalogue in the beginning is obviously very important. But I think also showing them that they haven't exhausted the catalogue. I think that's one of the challenges of ad-funded services, is getting people to come back. And so getting people to come back every day rather than maybe only once a week, and showing them that they haven't exhausted the good content as part of that ad-funded service. And then, of course, for a fully SVOD or paid service, you want to show people that they're getting value for money from their subscription. So again, showcasing that great content. People might go to a platform when it's so easy to unsubscribe. Then if their subscription is effectively hanging by a thread where they go to watch one show and they binge the entire season or even a whole series, you've got that time to showcase the breadth and depth of your catalogue, so that when they've watched that one show and they've seen the very last episode, that they already know there's other good content to watch. And so they're not looking to just immediately cancel because they can see there's a whole variety of other shows. And then, of course, if you go for that hybrid model where you have free content and paid, then you've got the benefits of both of those first models, but we can also help to promote subscription, maybe using the free content that somebody's watching to really learn what they like and what they don't like, and showcase the very best of the paid content, or encourage them to subscribe to premium packages or pay for one-off events. That's not just a generic promotion that goes to 5 million users, but it's something that's truly personalized. And I think that's really the key difference across all those models. If you can put the best content for me or for you or for any individual and put that front and center, make it easy for them to watch, and then gradually get them to watch more content that they might not have found on their own, but we still know is absolutely suited to their tastes and their moods.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be personalized. In fact, it's a jarring experience. I accidentally logged into my son's profile on Netflix and I had no idea what the heck, I'd gotten myself into. And then I realized where I was. But so much of what you're talking about comes back to data, right? And I'm wondering, what type of data intelligence are you able to provide on user behavior with a video app? And how does that inform content discovery? And for operators that don't harvest their own viewing data, can your platform still help them?
Yeah, I think it's really, the data is obviously the really vital in the whole experience. And I think that starts with understanding the content that's available. So if you can really understand whether it's a movie or a TV show or even a clip, understand what's really part of that content. And so again, that was something that Ravi mentioned earlier. We've got an entire information science team that's focused on that content intelligence. And so whether it's moods, themes, subjects, settings, as well as the more basic things like cast and crew and genres. So you really have a multidimensional view of the content. And so you understand what that content's about. Then if you have that viewing behavior, so what people are watching, recording, adding to their watch list or their favorites, you're then really learning what they like and what they don't like at a very deep level. And that means when you're making recommendations, they're not just, it's another movie from the same genre, but it's something that really resonates with other shows that that person has watched. And so I think that gives you that very individual personal experience, rather than just segmentation to potentially millions of users. But I think also, obviously, some of the aggregated services, they might be doing that by deep linking. into the OTT platform. And in those cases, you might not have all of the viewing data. But that doesn't mean that you can't have even still a personalized experience to an extent, or, we can certainly help in those cases. So even things like search, I think a lot of people think that search has been solved. And actually, I think most people, if you use one of the mainstream OTT platforms and you try and search for something that might not be a title, then I think you'll know that a lot of those cases search is not solved.
Right.
And so things like search, I think there's a lot of benefits, showing similar content, what trending searches are, what's popular. You can still personalize, or you can still find good content, especially with related content. You're using those deep metadata linkages. And we've had customers, when they've switched over to the ThinkAnalytics search and autocomplete and search suggestions, they've had hundreds of % increases in plays. In some cases, that's tens of thousands of hours of additional viewing time in a single month. And so if you're an ad-funded service, you can just equate that straight to dollars and cents. And if you're an SVOD service, again, you can see that your viewers are watching more content, and that should lead into seeing the benefits of their subscription, which then leads into reduced churn.
Right. Now you've talked indirectly about how this all benefits the viewer, but maybe you could go into a little more detail on that. Is, why should a viewer prefer to get their viewing content from a super aggregator? What do they get out of it?
Yeah, it's a good point, because obviously the operators and the viewers both have to really benefit. I think some platforms, they will offer a slight discount on your subscription. So if you, instead of subscribing directly individually to all the services, you might get a slight discount on your subscription fees. But I think one of the major benefits is the fact that you're not having to launch 2, 3, 4, 5 separate OTT apps. You can go into one service, and instead of having to remember where all your shows are, you can go into that one service and you can have that universal search, universal discovery experience, making it easy for you. So you're not launching something thinking that you're launching the service to watch a particular show and then discovering, oh, it's not on that platform, it's on this other one. And so you have to shut that one down. And like you were saying, remember to activate your profile, not the kid's profile. And so I think that ease of use and convenience is really important, because, after all, it's all about the entertainment and it's all about the content. And so what we're trying to do is reduce the work that the person has to do, reduce the frustration, and have that single experience that just makes it easy for them.
Right. And we recently did a survey here at Streaming Media, and one of the outcomes was a clear assertion that consumers, for the most part, don't care what service their show or movie is on, right? And so the platforms or the services aren't necessarily getting the kind of brand recognition that they used to when there were only 3 or 4 or 5 services available, or channels at the time available, broadcasters. But consumers want to watch the content they want to watch, and it can be anywhere as far as they're concerned. Now, super aggregators are clearly putting a lot of effort into this consolidation. You've talked a little bit about some of the returns. If people on advertising services, if viewers watch more content, that's more ads served, more dollars and cents. If people on SVOD services are watching more content on that service, they are less likely to cancel that service at the end of the month, more likely to stick around. What are some of the other returns that operators can expect to receive from super aggregation?
Yeah, I think they'll certainly have a very rounded picture of those subscribers and their preferences. And so that data, and I think, as you were talking earlier, the data about subscribers and their likes and dislikes, that is very powerful information that you can use for a whole variety of different purposes. You know, it could inform content intelligence and content buying decisions. And of course, the platforms are spending significant amounts of money on the content. So understanding what kind of content is driving the most viewing, what parts of your user experience are working the best, you know, being able to A/B test that and really drive that experience. But for the operator, if they have that very slick experience, they have all that valuable data about the content and about the customers, they could be in a good position to negotiate in terms of the content rights, because they know what's going to resonate with the subscribers. They can really boost engagement and have stickier subscribers to their service. Because if you're subscribed through a super aggregation service and it really is serving up the kind of content you want in that one experience, then you're becoming more and more sticky to that aggregator. And so by showing the customers that they haven't exhausted the catalog and that there is so much content available, that aggregator can become a very important place for the viewer. And that means that aggregator should become an important point of contact for obviously the OTT services as well.
Terrific. That was a great overview of the benefits of super aggregation and where sort of super aggregation is at right now in terms of adoption. Obviously, it's only going to grow in the next few years. Thanks so much for sharing your insights. And obviously, people can find out more at thinkanalytics.com. Thanks again, Peter, and thanks to Ravi from Tavant for sharing his insights into AI and OTT. Thanks to Bird Dog and Harmonic for sponsoring this whole week. The winner of the Amazon gift card for this hour is Jody Garalick. Thanks for joining us, Jody. Congrats, and look out for an email from us. We will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to kick things off with our second keynote, and that'll be Jason Press from Warner Media talking about all things HBO Max. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great evening.